So how could you change, like, people always say, like, okay, there's gender inequality in the workplace. Mind you, my mom built her own business.
Oh,
And
kudos to her.
She's a boss, man.
Yeah.
And, like, you know, I grew up with just her and my sisters, and she bossed up. I like total respect for women who build their own business, but she sometimes says it's somewhat of a competitive advantage being a woman in a male-dominated industry because some people, instead of a basket of like 15 dudes who could do your finances, there's this one caring woman who could do it. Have you felt that?
You know, it's true. I felt both sides of the coin because I've definitely felt the negatives of it, right? Where you're held to a different standard. You know, you're not able to be part of the boys club, but there are definitely opportunities that I've gotten because I'm a woman that another, you know, white dude who was sitting next to me that was doing just as good a job as me, which I actually hate. I remember talking to my dad on the phone because I had recently had a conversation with my manager, and he was saying to me, you know, you have a really good shot to move up here at this company because we're looking for women to fill these managerial roles. And I got on the phone with my dad. I was like, this is so frustrating. I don't want to get something just because I'm a woman. I want to get something because I'm good at it. And he's like, shut up, Kelly. Just take the job.
That's inevitable though, right?
Yeah, it is. It is. And actually we ended up having a conversation. Kind of what you're getting at is, well, how do you change this, right? You change this perception, I think, and it's not just about women, right? It's about different races, different, you know, there's all sorts of groups that are struggling with this. But at least from my perspective, it's getting women into more positions where they can help younger women, or their colleagues can see that, oh, you know, yes, like a woman can do this job and is really successful at it. And that we get to the point where it's not, oh, she's a woman and she can do this. It's, oh, this person is just really successful. And so my dad was saying to me, he said, you keep talking about how you want that to happen. This is how that happens. You need to have people create opportunities for you.
You got to put numbers on the board, man.
Yeah.
You need results.
Yeah. So I don't know. I struggle. I think one of the biggest things, though, that needs to happen that I see with all of these movements that frustrate me so much is actually, instead of being so alienating to men, to actually bring them to into the conversation. Because like the Me Too movement and the Time's Up movement, I think have done so much for women, especially victims of abuse. But I do find them to be really polarizing. And I had a conversation with one of my mentors. He's like, I'm terrified to mentor young women at work, lest I close the door or something that I do is taken out of context. I'm just terrified to even have a conversation with a young woman. And so while this is drawing awareness, it's making people who you need to have mentor you to create opportunities to be your champions, you know, not want to engage in this at all.
Whoa.
Exclamation point on that statement.
Bam. Well, do you ever sometimes think that, like, people just talk a lot? Mm-hmm. So, like, I understand, like, let's say you ascend to a position. I think you will. Like, you're a boss.
No, knock on wood.
Well, let's say, like, you're a CEO one day, right?
Yeah.
How much actual impact will that have on dudes creating more opportunities for chicks?
I know. It's something I struggle with.
Because this is ingrained in our brain, like, okay, well, dudes are more competitive and physically superior and more aggressive in the workplace. Mm-hmm. We're going to be the ones to take charge. Will there ever be a flip-flop?
You know, I don't necessarily think there needs to be a flip-flop, because I hate the rule in I think it was California, the law, where it's like we have to have a woman on a board now. It's mandated if it's a publicly held company.
But if they can't do the job, then like...
Right. I agree. I don't like that. I mean, I understand that there's diversity of thought and it's important to have different opinions, but we shouldn't be putting someone there simply because they have a vagina. Like they have to be able to do the job. And
go,
yeah.
It's all about if you get the job done. That's what everything is about.
Exactly. And I think it, you know, me being in a position someday, like, no, it's not going to flip-flop the scales. Like, it's going to change probably a couple perspectives, right? But like, that's where it starts. unfortunately. You know, you start to get a couple people that I've actually with the Here to Slay thing. Probably the coolest thing that came out of it was I started getting Instagram messages from randos that I didn't know, positive ones this time. It was great, yeah. And this one girl said to me, "Hey, I played your videos for my husband, and he, you know, came home from work today and had a really tough conversation with one of his female employees." I was like, you know, those videos that girl that you showed me, like, really made me start thinking about how to interact with women differently in the workplace. I was like, that's really cool. It's one person, but you know what? If I just throw up my hands, and going back to that point about the corporate culture, right? You just sort of put your head down and you say, okay, you're paying me. I'm just going to acquiesce and do what you want. Then nothing's ever going to change. So hopefully I can start to change minds, and other women who are like way more impressive and awesome than myself have already started doing that, and it can just, you know, snowball from there.
How do you train women to be attuned to like male aggression in the workplace? Because dudes are just naturally, just generalizing here, but more competitive.
Oh yeah.
So
definitely.
like, I mean, I'm totally for like equal opportunity, but like dudes are going to be competitive no matter what.
I know. It's funny. I struggle with this. I tend to be really competitive, so I tend to be one of those like women that like is like probably way too much. Thankfully, my fiance and I like don't work in the same industry, and we actually chose not to go to the same company because we probably would have broken up because I would have been a psycho. But thankfully, we're happy now.
Labor Day.
Yeah, Labor Day in Aruba.
Let's go.
But you know, I think that when I have tried to illuminate that type of thing with women, it's hard, because I think when you have conversations with women, it can be, you need to tread carefully, because I mean, what do I know, right, versus someone else. Like it's also important to highlight that, like, through questioning almost, and ask people, okay, well, why do you feel like you didn't get the promotion, or why do you think it is that you're not getting paid as much as someone else? Because at the end of the day, like, sometimes it is because someone else is better, right? But sometimes it's because they decided to go in and ask for the promotion, or ask for the raise, or they, you know, go golfing with the boss. Like, I've been in situations where I've seen that happen, where someone got invited to the meeting or got promoted and whatnot, but they were out the night before having drinks with the boss, or played tennis with the boss on the weekends. And so I think it's the first step is identifying when that feeling of, well, I should be getting this too as a woman, is justified, right? Because sometimes there are people that are going to be better than me at that job, and I have to ask myself, am I frustrated for the right reasons? You know, do I have a leg to stand on here? Or am I just, you know, not seeing the writing that's on the wall? And then that means I have to go back and I have to try harder and I have to do better, or find some other industry or what have you, what other job that maybe I'm better suited for. So it's tough though. I mean, that's hard to be honest with yourself, and also help someone else recognize that sometimes too.